Today is Thursday, the day before Labor Day weekend. And today, when I get home from work, we are heading down south to North Carolina, to the Outer Banks, to our properties down there. A pretty tough rental season between the house getting a little beat up from the guests and the weather, that we got to make a flying trip down there to do some maintenance. We've got some kind of emergency stuff that definitely needs attention and some deferred maintenance that we're just going to get taken care of right now. Seeing how we've got a pretty busy September and October down there, seemed like a good time to just block off the calendar for a few days, get in there, get these projects done so that the guests have a better experience coming into the fall. Let me take you back to 2021 when we bought the property. We're on Hatteras Island and about 2 rows back from the beach, so we're fairly well protected from the ocean, but it's windy all the time, it's incredibly hot and humid during the summer, and very strong storms can roll through the island, so it just wreaks havoc with the house a little bit. So there's always some upkeep in that regard, and then just the normal wear and tear of the guests, seeing how we're pretty much an everyday booked through the summer property down there. That's just kind of how the summertime market is, as opposed to our houses up here in New England that are primarily weekends. A lot of ski traffic, a lot of touristy holiday stuff. So we're able to get into our local properties a lot more and do these maintenance issues. Down there, we really have to do it off season and things start to accumulate. But anyway, we bought the home in 2021 and had about 3 or 4 weeks in April, May to get it ready for the season. It had never been a rental before, so it was in pretty good shape, but it definitely needed updating. It had one owner since it was built in the 90s, and so we wanted to go through and do those updates. New appliances, new paint, brighten the place up. 3 bedrooms, bath, and kind of a game room sitting area. 1 more level, and you've got a master suite and a great room, which is a kitchen, living dining room. We've got a sunroom and some decks off of that level too. So when we bought it, we tore out all the carpet on the upper level because that was kind of the primary living space. The kitchen had hardwood floor and then carpet on the remainder. We tore all that out and put down a laminate floor, brightened it up, felt really nice, get that carpet out of there, which was a little stained from the dining room and heavier foot traffic. And that carpet wasn't looking great just for how old it was. We took that one out, but we left the bedroom level because it looked really good. It was in good shape, and I'm a fan of carpet. I grew up with carpet in my bedroom. I like how it feels. So we left that, and it held up pretty good for a couple years. But then it started to really show signs of wear and tear a few years back. I mean, if you can imagine, a house that was never a rental now is seeing consistent traffic every day all summer. It's hot, it's humid. It's 3 bedrooms and a bath on that level. People are coming in wet from the pool, the hot tub, the beach. They're going in the bedrooms, dropping a wet towel, a bathing suit. It sits there probably all day. And one other issue we have is the bathroom on that level, there's no exhaust fan. So all that moisture really has just stayed in the house. And so the carpet really started to just wear down quickly, and it started to get a funky smell. Most people just say it's mold, but tearing out some of it last winter, there was no mold. It's just, it started to smell funky, it started to feel weird. And so we had some comments last rental season, that'd be 2023. So over the winter, we tore out the carpet in the game room sitting area on the mid-level because it was a significant amount of carpet. And it's where all the traffic would be from the bathroom, from the exterior deck, the hot tub. Tore that out, hoping it would help. And it did, it looked great, nice and bright in there. It felt a lot better and it helped with the smell. But this summer, it just, we couldn't handle it anymore. A couple people had mentioned how wet it was. It was consistently damp, started to smell. So that's why we said no more Labor Day weekend. We got to get in there, tear this carpet up. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take it out of the 3 bedrooms. There's still stairs and landings, but we're not going to be able to manage that project. That's a little bit too much. Or the flooring, that should be arriving today. Lowe's is bringing that, going to leave it off. And so that's the main project. One other issue we had is we had a roof leak, which has been kind of ongoing. And I've been up on the roof looking for the issue. I've patched a few areas, and every now and again when that wind blows, just a little bit of water comes in. If you've ever tried to fight water, it's very insidious. On a roof, you can never really tell where it's coming in because it runs down the drywall of the cathedral ceiling and just runs out a light or a vent. and that's not exactly what the problem is. It's usually further up the roof. So we had a guest who had an issue. It was one of the hurricanes that rolled through this year. It was leaking through a vent, dripping onto the couch, and they sent us a video where they had pots and pans set out, and they were quite put off, and understandably so. I feel like the ceiling has probably got significant stains, and it's an old popcorn ceiling, so that can tend to start to peel. We'll go tonight, probably about 7 p.m., and we'll get to the house around 7 or 8 in the morning. We're going to make sure we get all the critical things done, wrap it all up, clean it up nice, and yeah, we're hoping that it's, obviously rent ready, but looking bright and new and clean, and no issues for our full calendar September and October. So as we come in the house, you can see we replaced some of the floor here that had gotten damaged. At one point, the previous owner replaced these treads, got rid of the carpet, but we still have, I wouldn't say significant carpet, but the stairs are still carpeted up and down the platforms. But this floor is what we replaced last winter when the floor was, the carpet was just kind of worn out, getting a little smelly. This is one of the bedrooms that still has carpet, the stairs to the main level, and then these two bedrooms over here, which are more or less identical. Same size, king beds, but they both still have carpet. And you walk in and you can kind of smell some funk. I think it's just from the excessive moisture this time of year, the humidity, as well as coming in wet feet, showers, hot tub, pool, and from the beach. So the plan this weekend is to get rid of both of these carpets in these rooms. And there's probably not going to be time for the bunk bedroom, but we're going to see what happens. The main goal is to get these two king beds all set, and then eventually we'll redo the stairs. So to expedite the process of removing the carpet staples and some of the tack board, I found this neat little trick where we're going to try this paint drywall scraper with a blunt end and just kind of go at the staples and see if we can pull them up quicker. The traditional way that I've used before that's very tedious and time consuming is pliers or a screwdriver, and that takes quite a bit of time. So we're trying to get this project done as quick as possible, so we're going to see how this guy goes. Well, I can say that's a lot quicker than doing it the old-fashioned way. So we've got one big line of staples down the center and some around the side, so I think we'll be able to make pretty good time on this. Traditionally, to remove the carpet tack board, I've just used a hammer and a pinch bar or a big screwdriver to try and get the nails up, but sometimes it splinters the tack board, leaves big chunks. One tip I found recently was to use a spade rebuttal, and trying to get this done as quickly as possible. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to just take the spade and get under each nail and work our way around. For that section, it seemed like it went pretty fast. It didn't really blow up into pieces, came off pretty good. So we'll be able to throw these away, get this room done pretty quick. Quick update on the scraper, and I may have forgotten to mention this. I turned the blades backwards so it was more blunt than the sharp end, which would have just deteriorated quicker. But even with the blunt end, and this is two blades in here, they deteriorate pretty quick because they're so thin. And I've kind of just been going at it blunt force as best as I could. And what I'm going to do now is take these blades out completely, tighten the screws down, and just use the head of this and see if I can work out the remainder of the staples. But they've come out pretty good so far. We're almost done here. So after getting the carpet up, you can see kind of where the wet around the bed has been and the major deterioration in the carpet pad. All this stuff right here, that's the carpet pad, and it's wet. This whole area is wet. These little scunions of the carpet pad, they're damp. And so you can really just see the outline almost to the point where it's starting to deteriorate the plywood a little bit. It's not too bad. We're gonna let this dry out. We're vacuuming it up really well. We're gonna get this all cleaned up. The staples, the tack board, is all gonna be looking really nice before we get that flooring down. The flooring we're gonna put back down in replacement of the carpet is this waterproof vinyl plank that we picked up at Lowe's. And it was pretty reasonably priced, under $4 a square foot. I like this one because it is good for wet locations and we've had pretty good luck with it so far. Holds up pretty good to foot traffic and pets. And this one, like a lot these days, have the pad already attached. I've done it both ways, with the pad and without the pad. Without the pad, you just have to put down kind of this very thin, almost like a bubble wrap style pad. There are different ones, that's just the one I've used. This one just seems a little bit easier because it's all in one step, nothing to trip on and get under your feet. So we're gonna get going on this. Just gotta cut off a couple door jambs and then we are good to go. So update on the scraper I used yesterday in this bedroom for the flooring staples. I started today in this bedroom with the same scraper with new blades and it didn't work at all. For some reason these staples were extremely rusty and hard to pull out. So I abandoned this scraper and I went to a very old chisel that I have that is extremely blunt. This chisel is good for really nothing else and I don't know why I've been hanging on to it. I guess today was that day. So this thing worked great. It was really just blasting the staples up as quick as I could get after them. The one thing I wish I had done earlier was put on a pair of gloves because I'm quite calloused on this hand and you should probably wear gloves doing demo anytime. So a lesson learned there, but always go to the old cold chisel if you need to. That worked out great for the staples and we're just about ready to start laying floor in this bedroom. We're going to do a final walkthrough of these bedrooms now that the floor is finished. We're going to see how it finished out. We did have a threshold here because when we terminated the floor here in the game room to the carpet of the bedrooms, we needed something to kind of form that bridge. Unfortunately, that's where all the cuts are, so we're going to leave the thresholds pretty much indefinitely. So here we've got the floor. We painted the baseboards before the floor went down with a matching trim color. Looks like it all came out pretty good. New rugs to kind of keep the beds in place. What we found with these less expensive Wayfair beds is that as they start shifting around, if they don't have a carpet underneath them, the legs seem to fold right over, snap off, and then you get a pretty good sag in the bed. So what we're trying to do now is if we're transitioning away from carpets to any type of other floor, like this laminate floor, we're going to put a throw rug under each bed. Here's that first bedroom we were working on yesterday. One thing that still have to do at a later day is put the shoe molding down to kind of cover up the gaps along the edge, but that is a project for another day. Wanted to put bookends on the projects. We had a lot going on this weekend. The big one was tearing out the old carpet and getting that new laminate floor down, new rugs, get the beds and everything back together. So I think that all worked out pretty well. Didn't really have any hiccups there. We could see the carpets, how they had really deteriorated and be replaced. We still have one left, 2 sets of stairs. We'll get that done probably over the winter, just so we get that funky kind of old smell out of here, and it's a lot fresher for next season. But trying trying to really think through the project here and just everything we have going on for such a short amount of time being here. And this is always seems to be the case, that there's more projects that we can handle, and constantly finding things that need to be redone, replaced, especially in this climate. The salt air just really raises heck with everything. Found some outlets that aren't working, some lights, so gonna try and work through the night to get those done before we get out of here. And it's really kind of a statement on short-term rentals, I think, whether you're upkeeping the homes you have or buying new, unless you're buying something that's move-in ready, which we don't do. The 3 properties we have, we bought with the idea of adding value, so we put a lot of time and materials in. We like to do that because you put your own stamp on everything, and for us it's very rewarding to do that, even if it takes a lot of time and overtime. This property here in North Carolina, we had about 3 weeks to really get it rent ready when we bought it, so we couldn't do everything we wanted to do. We didn't have the time, we didn't have the resources, and being so far from home, it's just really hard to get all the things accomplished in just weekends or maybe a long week. Properties we have back in New England, Massachusetts, and Vermont, where they're constantly, every weekend. Erica goes during the week, I go on the weekends, and we just try and keep everything up as best as possible. I'd love to know how other people are really doing it. If you're managing yourself, whether you're just really leaning on handymen or you're doing things yourselves, kind of like we are, I'd love to know, because it does take a lot of time. You really have to put the time in to keep the places up. Even coming here, we'll get into things that the cleaners don't do. Deep cleaning, getting up under beds, rugs, top of baseboards and windows, those types of small things, they really do matter to everybody. The guests, even when we come to stay, you want to make sure it's in tip-top shape. There's nothing broken, nothing missing. Make sure we have all the kitchen utensils we need, plates, bowls, silverware, all those things. It really does start to impact the guest experience when those things aren't here. And that's really Erica's bag. I'm into the fix-it things. When I see things aren't broken, whether it's a doorknob or a piece of trim, I have to get after it. So there's always some other project that takes priority, like coming down here, the carpet, and we had to paint a ceiling. That was really the top priority. Are there things we had on the list? We got some done, but we don't get everything done. I like being down here. Obviously, Erica and our kids, they love being here. So a working vacation isn't a terrible thing. And whether it's here or New England, that's what we're going to continue to do, and just going to keep the projects going.